Yom Tov. It's the second day of November 2018. Time for a Messianic Moment with yours truly, Stephen Bruck, a DD214 alumni. Before we get into it, let's get the administrative stuff done with. Okay, in the website on the right-hand column, please subscribe to the website there on YouTube, which you're watching. Lower right-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, subscribe there. But again, on YouTube, please go to the website and subscribe there also, so that if I don't do a video, you'll still know I put out a post, because I don't always do a video. And that's pretty much it. Well, let's not forget, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Please share me out. Help this ministry grow if you like what you hear. And don't forget to make comments. Always be nice. And I really do like to hear from you. So whether you're saying good, bad, whatever, even if you just have questions, hey, Steve, what do you think about this? Please put them in the comments or just IM me on Facebook. Before we get into it, I do want to say one thing. I am so looking forward to November 7th, when all this political dreck will be over. They'll pull the signs up so I can see the grass along the streets again, and all these commercials that they have coming out that are an insult to our intelligence will go back to being the normal commercials, which are still an insult to our intelligence. Amen. All right, let's get into the Parashah. So this Parashah begins with the end of Sarah's life. Abraham buys a burial cave, and after his mourning period, he has Eliezer, who's not only his servant, but pretty much guardian of all he owns, just like Joseph was the guardian of all Potiphar's household. He has Eliezer go back to his old village to find a wife for Isaac from amongst his own family. You know, no Canaanite women for my boy. God goes ahead of Eliezer, and Rebekah, who is the daughter of Abraham's brother Nahor, is the one that God has chosen. After she's brought back and joined with Isaac, the Parashah goes on to talk about other things. It mentions that Abraham has 6 other sons through his second wife, Keturah. And at the end of it, we're told that Abraham's dead, he's buried by his sons, and the last section of the Parashah gives us the names of the 12 children of Ishmael who become 12 nations of their own. When I was reading this and other things that I've come across lately, I need to confess that there's been some pridefulness on my part, and that I have always thought the numberless amount of descendants that God promised Abraham would be the father of, that's in Genesis 15:5, would be the Jewish people. I never really thought of anyone else that would come from Abraham's loins as being part of that number. Oh yes, I recognize that the Arab peoples are brothers way back somewhere, since they also came from Abraham, but I always thought that the descendants that really counted were just the Jewish people. But lately, I've had a lot of discussions with other people who claim they are one of the tribes sent into the diaspora, these are Gentiles, and that they are now just tracing themselves back to their Israelite tribe. Lost tribes of Israel have been dispersed throughout the world, and in being so, they lost their origins, many of them having been assimilated into the culture and the bloodlines of the geographical locations to which they went. And these locations are worldwide, from Asia through Africa, all out through Europe, in the Mediterranean, I mean, all over. Now, we all know that Abraham had 2 sons, Ishmael and Isaac. One became the Arab nations, one became the Jewish nations. But we're told in the Parashah that there are 6 other sons Abraham had. He gave all of them gifts and sent them on their ways. And since his first 2 sons grew up into nations that numbered and still do in the millions, I'm thinking it only makes sense, it's reasonable to believe that God's promise to make Abraham's descendants as numerous as the stars in the heavens would also be fulfilled through these other 6 sons. Now, think about it. That means we know of at least 24 tribes, which in their own way have become nations, just from Ishmael and Isaac. So who knows how many more tribes or nations came from these other 6 sons? I'm sure there are scholars who can figure it out, but I don't know. But I figure, over the past 5 millennia, that's a heck of a lot of people. And even when we consider that some of the Semitic tribes have been destroyed, like the Assyrians and Babylonians, that still leaves plenty of descendants. My point is that God's promise to Abraham may not have been restricted to just the Jewish descendants. there may be more sons and daughters of Abraham around than I ever thought there were. So my special condition, being a Jewish descendant of Abraham, well, it may not be oh so special after all. And I confess I felt a little let down by that realization. On the other hand, after I thought it over a bit more, I started to think this is a good thing. God promised Abraham his descendants would be more numerous than the stars, more than the grains of sand on the beach. And when we think about that promise as including the adopted children of Abraham, that fits in perfectly with what we are told in the Bible. Let's look at some verses. Let's go to John 10:16. Yeshua is saying, I have other sheep which are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will hear my voice, and they will become one flock with one shepherd. And Galatians 3:29, for if you belong to Messiah, you are Abraham's descendants, heirs according to promise. Isaiah, way back in the Old Covenant, 56, 6 through 8. Also the foreigners who join themselves to the Lord to minister to him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, everyone who keeps from profaning the Sabbath and holds fast my covenant. Even those I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices will be acceptable on my altar. For my house will be called a house of prayer for all the peoples. And David said through the Psalms in Psalm 86:9, all nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and they shall glorify your name. And one last one here, Hosea 2:23. I will sow her for myself in the land. I will also have compassion on her who had not obtained compassion, and I will say to those who were not my people, you are my people. And they will say, you are my God. Now that verse from Hosea, I wanted to just point out, contextually was talking about the regathering of Israel. But again, when you're an adopted child of Abraham, you're regathered. There are actually many other verses throughout the Bible, both the Old and the New Covenants, which indicate God's plan to bring all the nations, not just those that are direct descendants of Abraham, into his salvation. And I've met many people over the years, especially those who have seen my testimony, who have stated they wished they had been born Jewish. By the way, since you're looking at the video, on the website where I write this out in the posting, under the Parashah postings, I have a link to my testimony. Or you just go to my website, go to the tab at the top, about Stephen, or about me, I think it says, and when you go to the bottom, you can see my testimony there. Others have come to me or have posted that they are just now finding out that their grandparents or grandparents were Jewish. Remember, many European and Sephardic Jews hid their Jewish lineage for fear of being persecuted or just outright killed. And the Sephardic Jews, if you're not sure, those are the ones from the Mediterranean area, Spain, and that area. So, the truth I've now accepted is that being a Jew is not so special after all, since I have many brothers and sisters who are all children, either directly or adopted, of Abraham. And they're throughout the world. And they are indeed as numerous as the stars in the heavens. The conclusion I have come to is this. Being a Jew by birth is not so much what is special. What is special is to accept Yeshua as my Messiah and to live my life as my Messiah did, worshiping the Holy One of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, through obedience to his Torah. Amen. So, thank you again for being here. Have a blessed day. Again, share me out, subscribe, and send comments. Other than that, today being Friday, I wish you a very wonderful Shabbat Shalom. V'hitrot v'Baruch Hashem.